Hey guys, I want to talk about the aspect of time and the insight that's really been pushing at me lately to share. And I actually recorded this a couple times, but the first time it didn't work, and the second time I accidentally deleted it. So this is the third time trying to get the concept out about time and what it is. It was a while ago where I received the knowledge that time is purely integration. And I suppose, although because what I receive, I embody quite well because it comes from my own innate knowing, I didn't, I guess, completely grasp the concept of what that actually means. And I knowing what integration means is obviously when we're in the process of, say, for instance, doing healing, and when we have a download or when our frequency is being shifted or our awareness is being shifted, it can take some time for the physical body or the physical to sort of catch up to where our awareness is going and where it wants to take us. So I see time as somewhat of a process of integration in this seeming journey that we're on in this human evolution of consciousness, in this lived experience. And it just sort of expanded a little bit extra recently in the way of it got shown to me that everything being in this now moment means a number of things. But a couple of those things are that we can actually alter the past or our interpretation of the past by going, putting our consciousness to that particular time in the past and recreating and altering the scenario there energetically. So, if you're following me, basically it got shown to me as if our lifetime is a bit like a guitar string, right? And it's got the notches, but they're actually on the string like bubbles. And it includes all of our past lives, all of our future lives. It's in entirety. But obviously where our point of consciousness is, so I guess what fret we're at within this guitar string, what fret we're pushing is what consciousness, point of consciousness is anchored. So being in this moment in time, that's what fret we're at, right? Are you still with me? So being that we are there, we can actually go back and relieve these bubbles in this guitar string that are shown to me like they're the distortions, so that when we're playing our vibration, it doesn't sound as good as it could because it's got all these distortions or like bubbles in the string. And once we go back to these distortions, and because there's no time, we can do so, and we release the pockets of energy, those bubbles that are sitting there, it actually allows our string, our frequency, our vibration to play more harmoniously within the symphony of life. So, when this was delivered to me, as in there is no time, what it was highlighting is that when you have um, something that you're faced against and you have a resistance to it, or you're having a block to it, you can actually focus in and go into what that block actually feels like. So first you discover this block within your body and you see what it feels like, and then you can expand it. You can hear if it has anything to say. You can see if it has a memory attached to it. You can view if it has a person that is there attached to this belief or this block. Because in doing so, what we're doing is we're allowing the unconscious mind to come into the conscious mind by self inquiry in order to take us back to a past memory or a pocket, a bubble in our timeline that is going to allow us to release the energy that is distorting our frequency from being played in, I guess, the harmonious way that we would like it to be. So, what this actually does is when you are returning to what seems to be the past, it is actually still existing now in time as a previous version of you. However, that version of you existing in the now moment does not realize that they are a previous version of you. To them, that moment in time is actually occurring in the now. So we have the ability to be what's known as the higher self or the future self in this scenario for a past version of us. And we can actually take ourselves back in time to visit this past version of us that is holding on to this energy, is blocking, is creating this distortion or this bubble within our stream, right? And allow it to be resolved. Allow them to express what they need, knowing that we are there in their presence as the future self. However, if you are processing this in the correct way, you will end up feeling the release of energy or feeling the energy that they're shifting or they're experiencing as they're doing it. And this can come through in many different ways. But it's very important to be visiting these parts or these moments in time as your current self, as your future self, visiting a past self. Now, why this is so important is because some of these distortions or bubbles can be extremely traumatic. And when we have the awareness when we're on the self healing journey, it can be okay or it can be able to be done looking back, and only ever do this if you are okay with the situation that is arising. Otherwise, I do suggest reaching out either to me or somebody else that may assist you on your healing journey. But it's important that you aren't going back and re experiencing it as that past version of you. So, if you have ever, I guess, experienced an insight or a shift in awareness where you have had like a download, you can actually conceptualize that this is actually what you're doing for your past version of you. So when we've received these downloads, we are actually receiving them from a higher self. And our higher self is a future expanded version of us, giving us the information in the now where our guitar fret is being pushed in our point of consciousness. It's coming back and saying, here, I'm answering your inquiry about what you asked. And it comes through as what's known as guidance. And this can happen in many different ways. Now, we often speak about guides. They can come in many forms, but the higher self, according to my experience and what I've been downloaded, is this beautiful future version of you who is existing purely to assist you on this journey. Because it understands that even though it's technically a future version of you, it already has all of the knowledge and wisdom in the now to offer you. The only thing we need to do is become completely aware through a sense of belief and knowing that this can actually occur. Then, when we embody this, we can allow ourselves to be that future self and be that higher self for a past version of us. When we consciously work on our healing journey, we are letting those pockets of energy, those bubbles, those distortions, we're releasing them across the line. And one very important thing to remember is that we have already achieved greatness. We are already the higher self. We are purely existing in this point of consciousness to have the experience of the journey of making our way there. So, when we look at the concept of time, use it as this beautiful gift of integration. Allow it to be a tool where you can use and utilize the fact of going back in time, knowing that everything is now, in order to assist a past version of yourself. Not only can you assist past versions of yourself, but you can also revisit past lives in this way. Now, past lives are also all existing in the now, which means we are able to go back and recreate, re-experience, assist, and transcend, allow all of these past lives that are experiencing or have experienced trauma or extreme happening, which is very, very, very common, and allowing them to be transcended. All of this is all existing in the now. So the more we allow ourselves to grasp the concept that there technically isn't any time, we are just experiencing a process of evolution, which is ever changing moment now, our ever changing interpretation of the now. And this is why often without change, because we are just beings in the moment of now, always changing, it can get really uncomfortable when we don't change, when we don't go with the flow, when we don't expand into that future version of ourselves. Because ultimately, we are restricting energetically what is the natural flow of evolution, what is nature, abundance, ever growing, ever expanding, ever reproducing, changing, altering, growing. So I hope this helped. I would really appreciate if you found value in this video, that you like and share, and also give me a comment, because this concept of time isn't one that's really widely spoken about as far as I'm aware. However, when we start to make that contact with our higher self by asking for guidance and working out that muscle, that's that connection to the divine, and removing the distortions in the way, we really get to a place where we get to live this experience in such a way that it can become something unlike we have ever known. And it's a lot of fun. All right. See you next time.